any questions, make sure you ask. Anything you can come up with, make sure you ask my guy Tim here. He's the founder of Torch. He's a two-time NCAA academic All-American at Dartmouth. Um, One of the reasons he founded Torch was to provide a effective and affordable way to help track athletes be recruited, which is awesome. Because I'm telling you, especially with track, and we need all the help we can get, to get the kids in there. Um, so I know you are the founder of Torch. So, what are some of your roles there? What do you? I know you oversee the operation, but what do you do?
Yeah, I'm pretty much do most functions for the company. I started it by myself, and I've added one business partner, Vlad Castillo, who's helping me on the core side of the business.
Uh
But to
huh.
explain to you a little bit more about Torch in general, so there's two main parts of Torch. One is a recruiting platform where over 500 college coaches and over 1,000 track and field athletes can search, express interest, connect, and chat with each other. So
Hmm.
rather than athletes having to send a bunch of cold emails, fill out a bunch of questionnaires, there's just one platform for coaches and athletes to be able to find and connect and chat with each other. That's one part of the business. And then the other part of the business, and I do that part of the business by myself. And then the other part of the business is a recruiting course. So with that one, we're including the, the recruiting platform as part of it. But in addition to the recruiting platform, we have a course that walks you step by step throughout the entire recruiting process to help you find what's a good fit for you, to help you navigate through the recruiting process, including admissions, and the financial part of the recruiting process, and until you get to a college scholarship, a college commitment, and offers in the end. And then we also do weekly Q&A sessions to guide our students throughout the recruiting process as well.
Okay, okay. And we'll get more into that course too later on. I know it's a lot of misconceptions about college recruiting for track. You want to try to clear some of that up for us?
Yeah, I have a few good points for you. The first
Yeah.
misconception I want to talk about is with college scholarships. So I think a lot of people think of track, think it's similar to football, where football you have 85 scholarships for every single team. So there's a lot of scholarship opportunity. For track, there are only 12.6 scholarships for men and 18 for women. And most Division One schools, even though they can offer that maximum number of scholarships, they don't. Most Division One schools don't even offer that maximum number, and it's really easy to do the math. If there are 30, 40, 50 athletes on the team and there are only 12 or less scholarships, it's easy to do the math and see not everyone's on a full ride. So I think that's one big misconception, is that not everyone's on a full ride, and scholarships are relatively hard to get for track and field. Another one is, I think a lot of the times when, at least when I was younger getting recruited, I thought that coaches were doing most of the recruiting, and you could sort of sit back and the coaches would reach out to you. In reality, most of track and field recruiting is athlete led. So the athletes are the ones that need to be proactive, reaching out to the coaches and being proactive themselves to get them from point A to Z, from scratch all the way to a commitment. And athletes need to be very proactive themselves in order to achieve the recruiting goals. And I think the last misconception that I want to talk about is it's actually a lot easier than most people think to do track in college. So I think most high school track athletes, if you're serious about track and you want to do track in college, most likely you can find a team that's good for you. I know plenty of athletes that were like men that were like 5 minute milers in high school, and most people wouldn't necessarily be able to compete at the University of Oregon or the University of Texas. But there are plenty of Division III programs that they're going to be competitive at, that they can compete at, even though you might not be all state or all American. So there's a lot of opportunity for more people than you think.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of kids they get discouraged because they can't go D1. A lot of them their dream is to go to the Olympics, of course. And for the people in the room, if you have questions, if you want to ask Tim a question, go ahead and drop your questions in the comment, and I'll let them know. Um, yeah, a lot of kids they get discouraged because they always want to go to the powerhouse schools, but hey, if you can go D2, D3, NAIA, hey, get in there, get it done. It's hey, if it's if the Olympics is your goal, if the Olympics is for you, it don't matter where you go. You train hard, go put yourself in those pro meets, and you can get it done. That's very important, and I hope there's some athletes actually watching this, because I want them to hear that. Um, so track is it's a unique sport. How is the recruiting process compared to like football, basketball, and other sports?
Yeah, so track is unique because track is a very objective sport. It's not like football or basketball where your stats might be inflated or deflated depending on who you're playing against or who you're playing with. So you might be a star running back, but if your line isn't very good, you might not have the best stats for you to back it up. Track is super objective because gravity is the same no matter where you go. So if you're running if you're running 10.8 in the 100 in Texas, or if you're running 10.8 in the 100 in Alaska, it's the same 100 meters as the same gravity you have in each. So it's a lot easier for high school students to get recruited to college for track because everyone's on an equal playing field. So that's
Okay.
one big difference. Again, as I mentioned before, the number of scholarships are very different though. For track, you have significantly less scholarship opportunities than you have for football. But it does open up the doors for a lot more athletes just because coaches don't have to go watching tape for you of an hour. You don't have to go and sign up for some football showcase that costs a lot of money. It's much more equitable because coaches really just need to know your times and your grades to be able to know if you're recruitable or not. There are a lot less subjective things that coaches are looking for that they might be looking for in a football or basketball.
So my daughter, she run track. So as a parent, um, how can Torch help athletes?
Yeah, so
What do you offer?
Yeah, so as I started to mention before, there's two different parts of Torch. The first part is the recruiting platform. The second part is the recruiting course. And I'm just going to talk about the recruiting platform first because I think we're talking about the course later.
Uh-huh.
So for parents, if you're thinking about how do I even get started, signing up for Torch is a great way to start. What Torch does is it allows over 500 college coaches that have signed up for Torch and over 1,000 track and field recruits that have signed up to very easily connect and chat with each other. Parents might know about this thing called LinkedIn. Kids might not know about it, but it's basically taking the concept of LinkedIn and applying it to recruiting to make it easier for athletes and coaches to connect and chat with each other. So if you're a college coach and you're looking for an athlete from Texas that has run under 11 seconds in the 100, that has a 3.5 GPA and over 1,000 on the SAT, you can find exactly what athletes meet that criteria and express interest in them. And then they'll get a notification that says, hey, this coach is interested in recruiting you. And if you're interested too, you can accept it and start a chat. Athletes can do the same thing. So if you're looking for a college that has a certain school size, certain tuition, a coach of a certain event group, certain acceptance rate, whatever your criteria might be, you can go and express interest in those coaches. They'll be notified, be able to see all of your information. And if they're interested too, they can accept it and start a chat. So it really streamlines the entire recruiting process to just a few steps rather than having to go through a bunch of emails and a bunch of questionnaires, where it's really ambiguous because you don't know if a coach didn't reply back to you, whether they're not interested or they didn't see the email or if they were just too busy to reply.
Okay, so on Torch recruiting, but can the athlete send email? So how does the athlete find the coach? Just say they're interested in just pick Texas.
Yep.
Uh, so is it somewhere on there where they can go look up that school and get all the coach's information?
Yeah, great question. So Coach Graham from the University of Texas is on Torch, and then we have a coach database or basically a coach directory. So we have all 500 coaches that you could look at in the coaching directory, and then you could filter coaches by state, by their tuition, by how good their financial aid is, by their
Uh-huh.
conference, etc. So if you were to go to our school list and just look at University of Texas, you could see the coaches that are on Torch from the University of Texas and find them directly right on the site there. And another difference is you don't email coaches on Torch. You can get access to their email, but all of the chat is right in on the website itself. So all of your recruiting chats with coaches can all be directly on the website itself.
So you have you have like Cap U and is it NCSA?
Yep.
Uh, so what makes you different from those two?
Yeah, so I'll first start with Captain U because that's more similar to the recruiting platform. So with
Uh-huh.
Captain U, it's like 20 or 30 bucks a month, and it's not track specific. And with Torch, it's an affordable option. You can sign up for free and start connecting and chatting with coaches for free. And then once you hit a certain number of connections and chats, after that, it's only 10 bucks a month. So it's a fraction of the price, and it's track and field specific, and has a lot more engagement from track and field coaches.
So I get so the athletes they get a free profile first. Um, then I'm guessing they can upgrade just like the other like Cap U and everything like that.
Yeah, the difference though is like, for example, with CapU and with NCSA, you can create a free profile, but there's not much you can do with that free profile. It's basically just sitting there until you upgrade. With
Uh-huh.
Torch, you can start connecting and chatting with coaches right away. So you
Oh,
can,
okay.
yeah, so up to you can accept up to 2 requests from coaches and make up to 5 requests from coaches to make a maximum of 7 connections and chats with coaches for free. So you can sign up yourself and make sure that it's working, that you're actually making a recruiting progress before paying a dime.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And then
Uh, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then with NCSA, a few of the big differences that we have with NCSA is that again, NCSA covers all sports. It's not really sports specific. Whereas Torch and Torch on Track, we're solely focused on track and field recruits. So that's one big difference. Second
Okay.
is with affordability. So again, with NCSA, you can create a free profile, but there's not much you can do with it. With Torch, you can actually start connecting and chatting with coaches for free with the free profile. If you want to sign up for Torch Pro, which is our premium recruiting platform, it's only 10 bucks a month compared to with NCSA, where their packages are one, two, three plus $1,000. So it's a very affordable option. And then with Torch on Track, which is our recruiting course, I think we're going to get more into it later. But for our recruiting course, we are less than a fourth of the cost of NCSA. So our recruiting course, which includes unlimited access to our recruiting platform, it includes my business partner and I, walking you through step by step throughout the entire recruiting process in our 8-module course, and weekly Q&As to make sure that we can answer your personal questions. Um, for us, it's very clear and honest price of $500 compared to with NCSA, it's often two or more $1,000 for that. So we're 25% of the price, track specific, and working with you directly compared to NCSA,
Uh-huh.
which isn't quite as hands on. And the last thing I want to mention is with Torch, one thing I really want to make sure is that we're completely transparent about our business. I know NCSA likes to hide how much they cost, and they do a lot of somewhat high pressure sales tactics to try to convince people to sign up on the spot. We're completely not about that at all at Torch. We want to be completely honest and transparent with you and just give you a high value service for an affordable price from the get go.
Okay. Okay. So the recruiting course is that
Yep.
let's say somebody got a paid account. Does that come with it, or can they register for that separate? And what does the course consist of? And how long is the course? Is it 1 day, 2 days, 30
Yep.
minutes, or what?
Yeah, so you can sign up for each individually. So you can sign up for Torch Basic, which is our free recruiting profile, and start connecting and chatting with coaches. You can do that for free, signing up on torchcollegerecruiting.com. And then there's Torch Pro, which is our paid recruiting platform, which has all the features and capabilities. That's 10 bucks a month. And then you could also sign up for Torch on Track, which includes Torch Pro, and it includes the course to walk you step by step throughout the recruiting process. And
Gotcha.
to answer your question there, what does it include and how long is it? So, Torch on Track, the recruiting course is an 8-week course. So, it's not that we just meet with you and then give you some resources and then we're completely hands off. We're going to guide you across through 8 weeks throughout the entire recruiting process. Our first 2 modules are all about finding the right academic, athletic, financial, and experiential fit. So that's what our first 2 weeks are really focused on. The next 3 weeks, we're walking you through the entire recruiting process of how do you reach out to coaches and how do you go from that connection to a college commitment, scholarship offer, etc. by the end. And we also have specific modules for the admissions process for recruited athletes and the financial process through scholarships and aid for recruited athletes. So over the course of the 8 weeks, you're going to become a recruiting expert by the end to be able to know how to navigate the recruiting process. And for those 8 weeks, we're going to be doing weekly check-ins with you as part of our group Q&A session to answer your questions. So it's a really hands-on process to walk you step by step throughout the entire recruiting process to achieve their recruiting goals.
I believe I had the recap of last year. Let me see if I still have it in here. Yeah, I think that's it. So what's the estimated number of athletes that were able to get a scholarship through Torch?
Estimated number of athletes to get a scholarship, I'm not sure because every single athlete, we don't get feedback from every single athlete on that. I
Uh-huh.
can give you a few examples though. We had one athlete, Casey Mulvey, who is an athlete from Ireland. She didn't know much about the recruiting process and then decided to sign up for Torch last fall. After 2 months, she signed up and accepted a full ride to DePaul University from a connection she made on Torch. And then she stopped using Torch after that because she got a full ride. But we've had a lot of success through that.
Nice.
And then beyond Casey getting a full ride, we've had plenty of athletes go to a bunch of elite schools, like my school, Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, Princeton. We've had 2 athletes this year go to UNC. We've had others go to Texas, USC, UConn, etc. So we have a lot of proof points of Torch working, and athletes have, I think, now made over 4,000 connections with college coaches on our platform.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's that's important. If anything, it's definitely create their free account. If you want to go with Torch more than that, give it a try. But making contact with them coaches, that's priceless because they're gonna keep in contact with you. So when is your next course starting up?
yeah, so we're starting our next course the last week of February.
Okay.
And if anyone is interested, we do like a free sale. We do a free recruiting assessment to make sure that you're a good fit because we want to make sure that you're a good fit and going to get a lot of value out of this course. And I'm happy to meet with anyone that is interested and just discuss with you and your parents whether Torch on Track is a good fit for you to help achieve your recruiting goals. If you are interested, we have a link to sign up on our website, torchcollegerecruiting.com, and you can sign up there.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and that's what I'm about to get to. So if anybody have any questions, make sure you just drop it in the comments. I'll give it to Tim if you have any questions about Torch recruiting or anything like that. I did want to ask you. So how was the recruiting process for you when you was going through it? Was it stressful, or did you wish you had something like this around? Or
Yeah, so I was fortunate that my dad is a high school track coach, so he at least knew a good amount of the recruiting process. But to be honest, I was kind of lost in a lot of it, looking at the wrong schools. So I took official visits to LSU, to the University of Oregon, to Penn State, to these really big track schools because I thought that was my dream as a good high school track athlete. And it
yeah,
turned out that those schools, I wasn't getting the scholarship money that I was expecting. I didn't realize how hard it was to earn a track and field scholarship at those big schools. And those schools really didn't end up being a good academic or financial fit or financial fit for me and my family. And I was very lucky in the end to go to Dartmouth College and get recruited there at the very end of the process because Dartmouth offers really good financial aid. So, dependent on your family's income, they will adjust the price of school. So, at least at my college at Dartmouth, if your parents are making less than $125,000 a year, it's tuition free. Um,
uh,
which for a lot of families, if you can get tuition free for if your parents are making $120,000, it's a lot better to go to Dartmouth and go tuition free than it is to get a half scholarship somewhere else where you're still paying for half of college compared to going tuition free. So that was a
Yeah.
blessing in the end for me to find a school that was a good financial fit, but was also a good academic and athletic fit.
That's good. That's good. Um,
And that's
yeah,
also
those.
one of my big recommendations for recruits is, again, I was talking before about how track and field scholarships are hard to get. They're only 12.6 for men and 18 at the women at the biggest schools that offer that full number of scholarships. But there are a lot of schools like my school, which is a small liberal arts school, Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, which offer really generous financial aid. So another one in Texas is Rice. I think it's at Rice. If you're making under, I think this is right. I think if you're making under $150,000 a year, you should only be paying, I believe, 10% of your parents' income per year. So if your
Mhm.
parents are making $100,000 a year, you shouldn't be paying more than $10,000 a year for school. And that has nothing to do with track and field scholarships or anything else. It's just what the school does because they're well endowed. Um, so again, one of my biggest suggestions is to figure out which schools are a good financial fit for you. We have tools to help you find that out built into Torch, so you can filter schools by how good their financial aid is on our recruiting platform, and we'll work with you individually to find that good financial fit as well in our course.
And that's a good point. You know, you got to go where you can afford if you're not getting a full ride. And that's a good tool to have on that, on your site. Um,
Yeah, I can
so if
talk.
we, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so the way that it works is on Torch, we have schools filtered from limited to excellent as far as their financial aid. And if a school, we put the basis of if your parents are making $100,000, what percent of the school's cost are you going to pay? So if it's excellent and your parents make $100,000, you would be paying between 0 to 20% of the full cost of tuition. So at Dartmouth, for example, it would be tuition free. So that would be classified as excellent. And then we have it classified from excellent to great to good to fair to limited to help athletes figure out just from selecting on a drop down which schools offer the best financial aid. So you can find that for all the schools directly on Torch's recruiting platform.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Nice deal. Um, yeah. So, what are all your social media handles? Where can they find you at, and your website as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Instagram, we're at Towards College Recruiting for the recruiting platform, and then we're at Torch on Track for the course. And we're putting a lot of insights and tips and tricks for recruiting on that as well. And then we're also on Twitter, just at Torch Recruiting. And then our website is towardscollegerecruiting.com.
Hey guys, there you go. Hey, there you go. You have it now. If you want to check them out, go on the website. Um, if y'all want to ask him any more questions, y'all can send him a message on all his social media sites as well. You have anything else for us, Tim, before we get out of here?
Uh, I think that's about it. Just another reminder at the end. You can sign up for Torch Basic for free. Start connecting and chatting with coaches. You can do that on torchcollegerecruiting.com. You can upgrade to the pro version to connect and chat with unlimited coaches that are on Torch. Again, it's only $10 a month. Really affordable option to get yourself recruited. Again, we've had a lot of success with that. Some athletes getting full rides within 2 months of signing up. And then lastly, with our course, Torch on Track, where we're guiding you and your family step by step throughout their entire recruiting process. You can sign up for that this month. We're starting our course the last week of February. If you are interested, I would love to talk to you about it, see if you're a good fit. And then you can sign up for that on our website, just on Torch on torchcollegerecruiting.com as well.
There
And
you
lastly,
go.
if you have any questions, again, as Vance said, you can just DM me on Instagram. I'm pretty active there. I'd be happy to get back to you.
Or Twitter.
Or Twitter too.
Or Twitter too. Hey Tim, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for coming on here, talking about Torch. I think it's good for parents to hear from people like you, so they can make a decision which way they want to go as far as helping their athlete get into college. Sometimes we need other resources. And you have to reach out to people who know more about recruiting. And I really do appreciate you also having that free profile, for the athletes too, because it's been rough. And some parents they can't afford it. They can't afford it, but they want to know the information, and thank you for that. But we gonna get out of here, Tim. If that's it, if that's all you got, we're gonna um, close the show out. But anytime you want to come back on here and talk some recruiting stuff, you're more than welcome.
Really appreciate it, Vince, and thanks for having me on. Great to meet you.
All right, all right. Hey everybody, before y'all get out of here, I need y'all to go to my YouTube page and smash that button. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. I can't believe it. Go to my Facebook, go to my Twitter, my IG. Also like me on there, guys. Thanks for following me. Y'all see me again. Y'all probably might see me again tonight. You never know.